Hello everybody, this is my first video. When it comes to personal freedom, I feel like a lot of people don't have a full grasp of what freedom is. It's, especially in the United States currently, I feel that the nature of freedom is, in this country, is very reductive and ill-defined. And I mean that it's the way I best put it is it's freedom for me, not freedom for you. And that's not how freedom works. Freedom isn't conditional. Freedom is something that is inherent to all human beings as an essence of humanity. And if one person's freedom is denied them, then everybody's freedom is denied. Or can be denied. Because freedom is an absolute. You cannot negate it without negating all of it, essentially. And what you have when you infringe on one section of the population's freedom is you have privilege. You have privilege that other people, you have a freedom that other people don't. That's what privilege is. That's the basic definition I can give you of what privilege is. It is a freedom that you have as a person that other people don't. There are three aspects to freedom that I fundamentally believe in, and I believe are essential, that every person on this planet needs to understand and apply. The first one is consent. Yes means yes, no means no, but consent is also conditional, in the sense that even if a person says yes or agrees to something, that they can and have a right, ought to, deny in between that transaction, in between that process. So consent isn't yes means yes or no means no. Consent means yes as long as yes continues to be yes, or no continues to be no. That is how consent works. Conditions and parameters may change. There's a fine print with that, but it must be respected. The second is personal boundaries. Everyone is entitled to construct their own personal boundaries. Everyone is required to oblige them. The third is personal sovereignty. That you have a right to your own body, regardless of whether you're male or female, or any distinction whatsoever. You have a right to your body. And that is that level of freedom, your personal freedom, begins and ends with you. Just as it begins and ends with that other person. That you aren't allowed to infringe on that other person's freedom, violate it, let me rephrase that again. You are not allowed to infringe or violate another person's freedom, just as another person is not allowed to violate or infringe on your personal freedom. That is how freedom works. That is what personal, individual sovereignty is that you have the ability that no one is allowed to violate your freedom, and you're not allowed to violate other people's freedom. And that when you violate another person's freedom, how that person reacts or how society reacts around you, those are consequences to your actions against that person. So that is how freedom works. That is how freedom functions. And everybody is free. Ideally is free. or should be. That there are people in this world, in this country, that have freedoms that other people don't. And those people can elaborate on that in their own course and time. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just talking about freedom as I see it and how it applies to me on a philosophical level. So with that, comments, like the video if you agree with it. If you don't agree with it, tell me why. But this is my own personal take on freedom and personal liberty.